What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR365. What is going on? Today is Wednesday, right? Yeah, it is Wednesday. It is May 1st. It is 2:01 p.m. And gotta tell you that we're looking at a shiz show, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are. Do not have topics prepared for today. Unfortunately, a little bit last minute. As we get started here, and just not really prepared for the proceedings of today. But you know what? I'll just go ahead and try to do my best. Now, what I will say, though, is if there's anybody out there that would like to call in and come on the program today, if you've already got my Skype, name, go ahead, call in. If you don't have my Skype name, I don't really want to just have a rando person on that doesn't maybe have like a camera and stuff. But like Rendered Reality, I actually sent you a message on Discord. I gave you my Skype name. So Rendered Reality, if you're near a camera, you want to get on here, go ahead, come on down. Sean, right? Sean from Rendered Reality, or is that Tyler? I don't know which one operates under the Rendered Reality one. But basically, I sent Sean my Skype name. But yeah, I could possibly have somebody come on here at the last minute. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get into it, guys. So what's going on today? First of all, actually, let me go ahead and thank one of our Patreon supporters, because I probably do have that set up. So let me go ahead and thank one of our Patreon supporters, because it's been a little while since I've done that. And so our Patreon supporter of the day is Zeke. Zeke is our Patreon supporter of the day. So absolutely, thank you so much. Really appreciate your support, Zeke. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Absolutely. I mean, this is huge. The Patreon support is awesome because all the Patreon support, the PayPal donations, I've gotten quite a few PayPal donations actually just over like the last couple of days. And I haven't had a chance yet to make actual little things, you know, showing the PayPal donations, but that will be coming soon. I guarantee you, if anybody donates any money via PayPal, or if anybody signs up to the Patreon, you will absolutely be recognized. No question about it. You will absolutely be recognized. But sometimes, Stangerism. Mustangerism. Yeah, I believe I just sent you a message in Discord that has my my Skype name. But anyway, yeah. Are you at a camera? Oh yeah, you're not home from work, so it's okay. Look, it's totally last minute. So we'll just go ahead and do this show, and I just got to wing it. You know, I just got to wing the show, and I've done it many times before. I've winged shows a million times before, and I'll do it a million times again. And, that's not a problem at all. And we've got things to talk about. We've definitely got plenty of stuff to talk about. But like, I don't have like prepared topics, so I'll just kind of have to wing some of that stuff. But basically, what I wanted to go ahead and start off with is let's talk about the pre-order today for the Valve Index. Let me fix my camera. It's a little bit low there. Okay. So let's talk about the pre-orders today for the Valve Index. And I gotta tell you that yesterday, talking to Steve, and the day before, Chris Richardson can come on. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have Chris Richardson on. Okay, go ahead and call me, Chris. We might get Chris Richardson on. Chris Richardson might come on here. For those that don't remember, I did an interview show with Chris Richardson. In fact, he was my first video guest when we finally got the video working, and now we've been able to have a lot of people. So he's probably got to get his camera ready and stuff like that. Chris, make sure if you hear this, try to get some light on you, because you were kind of in the dark last time. So if you can get some light on you, that would be good. But yeah, he can go ahead and call in, and I could try to add him in and we'll see how that works out. But yeah, so, talking about this pre-order thing, I was not expecting this to be a situation where I would have to scramble. Okay, here's Chris calling in. Hello, Chris. Hey, what's up? I'm good. Okay, so here's what I got to do. So hold on a second here. I'm going to switch over to this other scene here, and I'm going to try to add you in as my NDI source numero 3. And bada boom, bada bing. Okay, there we go. And now, hold on. I got to get your, let's get your image size right. Whoops. And I'll move you over like this. All right. So can you, I don't know, can you see it on the screen here? If you can maybe move your camera just to, because what I have to do is I got a widescreen view, but we just use a square, like it's a little square. So I have to so your camera, you'll see it on YouTube here in a second. There's like a 7-second delay. Go ahead and mute the YouTube audio though. You want to just listen to me on Skype.
Yep, I'm already doing that.
Okay. And then we'll see. I might need to turn your volume up a little bit. You sound a little low to me, but people can tell us in chat if you're a little bit too low or not. Okay, so Chris, basically, now I got to redo my camera too because now I'm in this new mode here. All right, here we go. Okay, so Chris, I was telling my story today about the Valve Index and the pre-order situation that's going on. And I gotta say, after talking to MRTV a couple days ago, and then Sebastian, and then talking to Steve yesterday, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was going to be tremendously hard to get my hands on one of these Valve indexes, mainly because $999, man. Like, that's not a drop in the bucket. Where are all these rich people coming from? And where's all these VR gamers coming from? We don't have that many VR gamers. What's going on here?
There's been pent-up demand and quantities are low. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think the quantities are really low. See, here's the argument that I would make here is, like, if I was going to go on my rant, if I was going to go on a rant today, my rant would have been, this is what we get for a company that has never really mass manufactured something in this sort of fashion. Look, I know they got a Steam controller. I know they've had like Steam Link, and I know they've done their like Steam machines, and they've had some different things that they've done over the years, right? But this is completely new ball game here. Mass manufacturing a product that maybe 30, 40,000 people might be interested in. How many units do you think they sold out of today?
That I couldn't guess, but it's interesting. It's the fact that they're doing this as wide as it is. Like, this is up on their Steam page. They're saying, "Hey, we've got a product. We're ready to sell," and then they're out in the first few hours.
Minutes, yeah. Well, the first few hours, no, they were out within like 10 minutes. And let me tell you this little story, Chris, because I'm lucky. I'm really lucky that I was not home today when all this happened, because I would have been so freaking frustrated, because like people that were trying to pre-order today that were at home and they're dialing, like they're refreshing the page, they're trying to get their credit card information in, they're trying to complete the purchase. Like, I was on my Discord a little bit earlier, and I was looking at all these people that had done that. Like, I went back to 10 a.m. when everybody was like, "I can't get in, I can't do this, I can't get in, and I can't order it." So I would have been so pissed off because it wouldn't have worked for me, and I would have been super frustrated. Were you in the market to buy this thing?
I was considering it, but I'm really stuck now because I sold my Rift. And I was looking to get the, something. I'm sort of like you. I'm looking to get something, and I'm in the market, and there's a temptation to get what is going to be the the top of the line because I've never really had that top of the line experience. They say that the Vive trackers have always been the best tracking available, and I've never actually owned that. So I was
Yeah,
looking
that's
at getting the bundle
the
at
full
some point.
bundle, the thousand
Yeah,
dollar one.
right. And didn't I tell you it was going to be $1,000 or more?
Did you? Did you? Yeah. Well, you know what? I was higher than most people because I was saying 799. I was saying 800 basically, and a lot of people were like, "No, it's only going to be a couple hundred more than the Rift S," And I was like, "No, I don't think so." And
Well,
then
you
even
asked
I was
me.
200 short. So you said
You
a
asked me, and
thousand.
I said $1,000 or more
Oh man!
because
So
I
you're the
I
true
was
Nostradamus.
exactly, sir. I'll
Yeah.
take the crown for a minute.
Okay. Okay.
But I also said I don't know that I can really justify that. I predicted it being more expensive than I could actually afford because I'm not certain that the PC I have with the 1080i is going to be able to use it at the highest resolution that it needs. That 144 megahertz refresh rate.
Yeah, the
Uh,
144 though. First of all, that is an experimental thing, right?
mhm.
And the thing is, the LCD screen itself, that when you set it to the 144 hertz mode, you're going to get some screen tearing. I mean, it's going to depend on the game, and maybe you do it with Beat Saber, you don't see a lot of screen tearing, but with other games, you might see some screen tearing. So,
But
yeah,
you're
I
going
mean,
to want to
it's
try it, right? You're going to want to
absolutely,
see the thing
yeah.
in that mode.
And
And
you know
I'm
what?
not even certain that a 1080 Ti can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a 1080 Ti, they were using some like 970s and like they were doing it there at where the press was trying these things out. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this one so I look at you over here. That was my mistake I kept making the other day. Is I'm looking at this monitor because I got my big Skype window over here. I got to look over here. Okay, Chris. I heard that they weren't using like 2080 Ti's when they were demoing this to the press, is what I heard. And
Really?
so, like, there's certain games like Beat Saber. There's going to be certain games that just will work okay. And I'm sure that when this thing comes out, there's going to be lists. There's going to be official lists of if you have this graphics card, this list of 18 games has been confirmed to work butter smooth at 144. You know what I mean? We're going to have lists like that. I mean, the
Mhm.
community is going to do that. I'm certain of it, right?
Mm.
And but the interesting thing about it is thinking about this refresh rate, like it really does seem to be the secret sauce of this product. But at the same time, you know what I remembered today? There was a PlayStation VR game called Courics. Korix. Courics, right? And let me see. I don't know if I have a trailer for it. But there's a PlayStation VR game called Courics that supposedly, with a capital S, supposedly ran at a native 120 frames a second. Okay, and a lot of people don't remember this, and of course, no, I do not have the trailer. But
Yeah, I
there
heard the
is,
PlayStation VR was doing that, but it was some sort of upscaling, isn't it?
yeah, well, see, the PlayStation VR, what it does is it renders at 120 hertz, but it's basically taking 60 hertz and it's doubling it. So that it's using their own little doubling technology, which all these companies have that. Like, for example, the 144 thing that we're talking about here, it's divisible by 72. And so if developers can get their game running stably at 72 hertz, then they can double it to 144, and you're not going to get the true native 144, but it's still going to feel pretty good on your head on your eyes. On your eyes,
Hmm.
it's going to feel pretty good. But
Yep.
this game Courics, I'm going to switch to the webby browser here. Hold on a second, and oh man, I don't even have Firefox open. Hold on a second. Back to Firefox, and we got to minimize this. Not now. Minimize this. Okay. So now I got this way zoomed out. Hold on one second here.
Mhm. Well,
Okay.
the other thing that you asked me about was like what was the game I was looking forward to the most, and I told you Boneworks was one of them. And you'd want to play Boneworks with those touch controllers, or not touch controllers, with the index controllers.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's a story. This is on Upload VR. This was back March 21st, 2017. Okay, and it says that Courics, it says Courics claims to be the first PlayStation VR title to run natively at 120 hertz, launching on March 28th. And so the thing about this, Courics, a visually minimalist VR RTS headed to PlayStation VR, claiming to be the first title to run natively at 120 hertz. While the PSVR display supports a 120 hertz refresh rate, most games on the platform run at 60 hertz and use a technique called asynchronous reprojection to inject interpolated frames to bring the output to 120 hertz. The headset can also run with a native 90 hertz refresh rate, matching the Rift and Vive, but according to developer Mark Taylor, Courics will be the first game on PlayStation VR to run natively at 120 hertz on both PS4 and PS4 Pro. Now, here's the thing. As this was getting close to coming out, I was really excited about this because I heard about this and I thought, oh my God, this might be a real game changer if you could actually, if you could see this at 120 hertz. This could be a real game changer because it could feel, it could feel so much better, like, in terms of like headaches and those kinds of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when this game came out right away, the developer of Courics, he was on the PlayStation VR subreddit, and he did an AMA, an Ask Me Anything. And I was in there, and I asked him about, the 120 hertz, and he's like, yeah, it's working. And then so I asked I didn't have the game myself, and I never actually got this game, but I was asking all these other people that played it, did you notice any kind of a difference? Because this is running at 120 hertz. And no one noticed any difference whatsoever, which was really bizarre. It was really bizarre to me. And so what I'm wondering now is like, is this game, like, I'm still wondering, is this truly at 120 hertz? Because why is everybody going goo goo gaga over the Valve Index at 120 hertz or 144 hertz, saying like it's like a different level of reality, like you could see reality so much better, and all these other things, but why is nobody ranting and raving about this game Courics? Because hardly anybody even mentions it.
Maybe it's not a good game. That might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it's not one of, like, it's not considered one of the 20 or 30 best PlayStation VR games, but it's supposed to be a pretty decent. It's a pretty decent real-time strategy game. Like when it first came out, people liked it, um, but yeah, I don't
well,
know.
since we know so little about the index and Norman Chan, bubbling review of being, on caffeine with the thing on his head. That's the takeaway. That's the one big get that they've got over anything that Oculus is doing, since they're going down on the resolution, not the resolution, on the frame rate,
Yeah, yeah.
to 80. So
Exactly. We do have a bit of news. I'm gonna go back to the. I still have your video when I go to the little webby browser here. It's just you're really small in the corner there.
yep, I've
But
seen myself.
what I do want to do real quick is I know on the Vive subreddit, there's a story. The guy from Cloudhead Games. And I accidentally closed my browser, and so all my windows that are normally up, I have to just do this here. Okay, so Denny Unger. So I'm going to go ahead and read you this information here. Denny Unger. So many people are underestimating what the index does differently and does so well. It is almost not a comparable experience. take that for what it's worth until you try it for yourselves. And let's see if I can get the full quote here. Let's see. He said, this is Cloudhead Denny. Remember that picture that came out where they tried to hide the Valve Index and people like were detectives and they're like, look at the cameras, you know, it was like, it had all these little emojis that were hiding it. Do you remember when that story came out?
I do.
And then it got pulled, you know, it got yanked. Like he tweeted out this picture and then it got yanked really quick. This is that same guy. He was using the Valve Index. You know, that's what he was using. That's obviously what was in that picture. But this guy, Cloudhead Denny, this, of course, is the developers that made Call of the Starseed and Heart of the Emberstone. And they're pretty close to Valve. Like, they're pretty tight with Valve. He said, there's so much I cannot say, but I need to say one thing here. I have A/B'd these devices side by side for the last few months. So many people are underestimating what the Index does differently and does so well. It is almost not a comparable experience. Take that for what it's worth until you try it yourselves. So I'm going to ask you, like, what do you think? Because I know a lot of people, like some people are saying the Valve Index, it doesn't do that much, like it's not doing that many great things. Are you excited for it? Like, do you think it's going to be this like game-changing thing, or are you one of these people that also feel like it's not as game-changing as it should be? There's no foveated rendering, no eye tracking.
It's one of those things that we won't be able to really justify it until we see it, right?
Yeah.
And since they have such limited supply, it looks like we won't be able to see it for quite a while. That's, they're not going to have demo stations in stores for us to put it on and see for ourselves. So that's one of the problems. And it'll be that mystery box, sort of like the Magic Leap. It's like you'll have to take people's word for it until we get to put our own eyeballs on the situation and make a realistic, justifiable,
Isn't it disappointing though that I could complain about Valve as a company here, and like you shouldn't be trying to manufacture a product on your own if you're not able to get away with it. Like if you don't have the wherewithal, if you don't have the necessary facilities, if you don't have the expertise, if you don't have the supply chain, if you don't have the right people in the right places, like should Valve, maybe they should have a silent partner. Maybe this should have an LG logo on the side of it. Maybe this should be manufactured at plants that can pump these things out. Because typically, when we're thinking about a product like this, typically you get about 10,000 units per month. Like when they start manufacturing something like this, usually they can pump out 10,000 of these a month. Okay? Mm-hmm. And here we are, where it's May 1st. And they've started taking pre-orders. They're saying that they're going to start sending these things out around June 28th. Like if I was just to assume, I would assume that they've already been manufacturing this thing for 3 months. So shouldn't they have like 30,000 of these things sitting in a warehouse? How did this sell out in a matter of minutes?
Well, there is that branch of us that has been waiting for the next gen. There's also, I think, a group of people who have been interested in VR, but not at the quality level that VR started, and have been waiting for that next gen to begin their journey. And they're seeing the Valve product as that start of the journey. So they're taking the leap now. And
I hear you, but $999 US dollars. I mean, remember that one.
How far off is that from $799? If
no,
you're
but
go.
That was high too.
I know.
And this isn't the launch of VR. This is in April 2016. Because one thing I did think too is I thought of. Like a part of me was like, well, hey, remember April 2016? Remember how excited you were, and you were paying $799, and you pre-ordered it. There must be tons of people out there that are excited like this. But then the other half of me, it's almost like you have that little thing on your shoulder, the good cop, bad cop, or angels or whatever, right? And it's like the other part of me was like, nah, this ain't a brand new thing. People have had VR. I just don't think there's that many VR enthusiasts out there for 30. Bottom line, I don't think they have 30,000 of these things in a warehouse right now. I think they maybe have 5,000. And I think if you only have 5,000, I don't think you should be selling a product like this. You're not ready for it.
I don't know that that's true, because think about this. Remember when the Wii came out and it was in super low supply, and we had, months of people waiting at their Best Buys for that next shipment of Wiis to roll out for them to, until they got to the point where they could actually fill the supply chain properly. This could be a stab at creating that kind of disruptive force. And disruption has been the key. That's what Valve has been doing, and you've talked about the trolling. Guess what's very trollish? Coming out with a product that you don't have enough of, but you're keeping people from going for the other solution because this thing is a possibility.
But do you really? But I could see a lot of people, like, there's a part of me, Chris, where today, because today I came home and I finally tried to enter my pre-order information and stuff like that, and it just said, "We'll notify you." And I wasn't even paying attention to July 31st and stuff. I didn't even know that I missed out on this pre-order thing. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird. They didn't take my payment information. I guess I'll pay for it when it gets close to shipping or something." I didn't even realize that they completely sold out of the Valve Index. I never even considered this possibility. Okay, so wait, in chat, somebody was saying, who was it here? I think Steve Bishop was saying not everybody is buying the $999 version. Steve Bishop said that at one point here in chat. But see, that actually speaks to my point. I was counting on the fact that not everybody would be buying the full bundle, so I thought, there will be plenty of full bundles because most people will be going for just maybe the headset by itself, like people that already have a Vive, or people that just go for the headset and the controllers because they've already got base stations. And so I thought the fact that I'm going for the full bundle, there's not going to be that many of me that are trying to go for the full bundle, so there's going to be plenty available for me. And of course, completely wrong. Oh my God, if this thing really comes out on June 28th and I'm waiting an extra month to play this thing. Stuart Gregerson in chat says, "Anthony, you're crazy to think that they had 5K units. Am I crazy to think that they had that many, or that they only had that many? Because, dude, there's you, Stuart Gregerson. I'm talking to you right now, Stuart Gregerson in chat. Do you believe they have 30,000 in a warehouse? You tell me, how many do they have in a warehouse right now to sell? Because I don't think there's 30,000 VR enthusiasts that are ready to drop $999 at the drop of a hat. I do not believe it. I don't believe it for a second. There's a website we have that keeps track of how many people are in all these different VR games. You know that website? There's a website. It's like a Steam database thing where they you can go into Job Simulator and see how many people are in Job Simulator right now, or how many people are in Rec Room or Onward or Pavlov or whatever, right? If somebody in chat knows what I'm talking about, what's the name of that website? Because I'll look it up right now. Because you go to that website and I'll look at certain games, and there's an average of 3 or 4 people daily going into some of these games. There's so few of us. We're a little niche. Where are all these people with freaking $999?
I think I might have to Steve's point, the people who were disillusioned by what HTC actually rolled out with their Vive Pro, the people who were waiting to upgrade their units and then decided, after they saw that huge price hike for not a lot of benefit, decided to wait, they might be buying the $799 bundle and using their old base stations. That might be where, you wanted to buy the full bundle, but they just might have run out of headsets.
Okay,
It's a
so
possibility.
that actually you do bring up a point there though, because when you decide, like having all these different SKUs, it is a headache. It's actually a real headache. Like even Oculus and the Quest, they've got the 128 and the 64 gig version, right? And I
Mhm.
didn't pre-order that either. I'm planning on buying that the day it comes out, on the 21st. I'm going to take that day off of work. I didn't take today off of work. Maybe I should have. But I'm going to take that day off of work and I'm going to go to Best Buy or Walmart or whatever places I find out that they have, like I'll talk to a Best Buy manager and be like, yeah, we got 15 of them. And I'll be like, okay, I'll make sure I'm among the first 7 people that stand out in front of that Best Buy, right?
Mhm.
But when I get in there, they might be like, because I actually want to get the 128 gig version just because I want to have, like, I'll pay the extra 100. I know it's a freaking tax like a mofo, but I'm going to go ahead and pay it and just deal with it, right?
Mhm.
But they might not have those. They might only have the 64 gig version, and then I might just end up getting one of those. But whenever you have multiple SKUs, this is the kind of headache you find yourself in.
Mm.
Have you
Yeah.
noticed that?
Well, I didn't. I'm not taking the chance. I actually bought
You bought your
the.
Quest already?
I bought my Quest,
Did you get it
and
from Amazon or Oculus Direct?
I got it from Best Buy,
Best Buy.
actually,
Oh, okay.
and I got a $50 discount. Woot!
Oh, do you got like a Best Buy card or something?
Uh, Part of the rewards program, and my
Oh,
birthday
yeah.
just happened, and they gave me 10% off. I'm sorry, I'm moving around,
Oh,
but
it's
my
okay.
I was running out of power on my laptop, so I had to go plug in.
Okay, so Stuart Gregerson in chat, he says there's so many people who've been holding out for this headset. Steam Charts doesn't accurately record VR users as it doesn't even account for Oculus. Yeah, but that goes to my point again. It's like, okay, somebody, like I mentioned this on in my Discord server. I was like, there's not enough people to be buying all these things right now. This is not logical. This does not compute. Okay, this is me going into my little Ranthony mode. Let me switch back over here to our scene like this. Okay, so this does not compute. This is not logical. I'm sorry, because here's the thing. People were coming at me and saying, wait a minute, there's 2 million people that have PC VR. There's 2 million PC VR gamers. And my response to that? No, there isn't. There's 2 million PC VR headsets that have been sold, but that's a completely different thing than being 2 million PC VR gamers. I've got multiple VR headsets in this house. You've got multiple VR headsets in your house. Steve has multiple VR headsets in his house. Gary has multiple VR headsets in his house. We know there's people out there that have 7, 8, 9 different HMDs, as crazy as that may be. And so it's not like for every individual PC VR headset sold, there's an individual PC VR gamer. The other thing we need to factor in is that a lot of these headsets are being sold to VR arcades. They're not even being sold to like an individual person. VR arcades are buying like 50 headsets, and it's not going to any specific gamer at that time. Okay, and then in addition to all of that, so this 2 million number keeps going down now as we're doing this, right? And then you go, okay, the market is split. You got Oculus, you've got Vive, you've got Windows Mixed Reality, you got the PI Max camp as well, right? But let's just take the Oculus guys. Like most of the Oculus, like the Oculus fanboys, they're out there, they exist, and the Oculus fanboys aren't going for this thing. The Oculus fanboys are writing down every reason why you don't want to buy a Valve Index so they make themselves feel better about it. And there's a lot of reasons not to buy it too, and I'm going to do that on a future episode. But all the Oculus guys, they're not jumping after this thing. So half of the entire market is even jumping after this. And then the other half, the half that's remaining, how many of these people actually have 999? Dude, it's one thing if you have a headset that's $399.99, like the Quest or the Rift S. This is like 3 times as much money almost. I mean, where is all this money coming from? I don't know, man. It's not logical to me. This is not
There,
logical.
there's one thing that another thing that you might not be considering. the fact that they kept the requirements for the PC necessary to run this as low as they did, like the requirements over time, people have upgraded their PCs. There are more people out there now with a machine that could possibly run VR properly than there were when VR first launched. Back when you bought it for $799, you also had to consider buying a new graphics card and getting a new PC. Now, people have the PCs. Hell, they have the laptops that can run this thing. And Valve, in a known quantity, the biggest game store in the land, is saying, hey, we're putting our name our on this thing, and you know it's going to be good. People love Gabe. And they're following this. This is their time. They've been watching this thing with a little bit of interest. I think these are new buyers. This is a new time.
These are some well-heeled new buyers, I'll tell you that. Because, dude, $999, that is not like most, like when people were thinking of it. When I said it was $799, people were like, oh my God, you're crazy. $799, that's ridiculously expensive. Well, I came in low. It's $200 more than that, yet all these people are just buying this thing with reckless abandon. Okay, to me, what about this? Scalpers. Like I talked about this with Sebastian. I didn't think people would scalp this because it's $990. I mean, if you're a scalper, the lower the cost is to buy the thing, the better, the easier it is for you to double the price. You know what I mean? Like if something costs $199, you can scalp it for $400 and double your money a hell of a lot easier than if you bought it for $1,000 and now you're trying to sell it for $2,000.
Oh, but maybe they're just buying the headset. And then they just have to flip the headset and leave everything else that's super expensive, like those base stations and those controllers, to the person who's going to be looking to buy the headset.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just so frustrated because I'm not getting one. I'm not getting one. Valve, by the way, if you are a Valve employee, my email is info@VR, and I'm not even kidding here. I'm not kidding. If you're a Valve employee, help me, please. info@vrgamerankings.com. I've got 999 big ones. I will send them your way. Please save me. Save me, Obi-Wan. I don't want to have to wait like another freaking month. Oh my goodness, this is a disaster. Okay,
now we know what that countdown clock was about. It was about they knew that it was going to sell out.
Man, well, yeah, they knew because they only had 500 of them in the back room. That's why they knew. I don't know, man. I'm salty. I didn't get my pre-order. Yeah, the truth came out. It is absolutely true. Hell yes, I am. Hell yes, I am. Well, see. It's funny because I wasn't sweating this at all, Chris. Like, I didn't lose any sleep last night. And I was at work, and it was 10 a.m., and a part of me was thinking, maybe I should be at home right now trying to pre-order this right away, right when it strikes 10 a.m. But the other side was like, nah, there's no way. It's $999. There's going to be plenty of them left over. And then I get home later, and it's like, oh, my God, this thing is... Yeah, I'm not gonna drink out of a boot. I'm not gonna eat a sock. That's not gonna happen. I'll eat a donut live on air. That's what I promise.
Well, I actually went down to Best Buy yesterday trying to pick up a Quest, only to discover, oh no, it's going to be available on the 21st. So I had that level of disappointment crushed down on me. So I know what you're feeling, sir.
And the funny thing about it too, Chris, is like you just brought up the Oculus Quest, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't it amazing that the Oculus Quest is almost an afterthought right now? I mean, what a
mission
accomplished troll. What a beautiful troll. I mean, no one is talking about the Rift S or the Quest. I'm
still excited about not having cables. I think it's going to be fantastic.
No, I know. I'm excited too. Like, I'm absolutely excited for this, but you got to admit it's being buried. Like, I mean, all the show, like MRTV ain't doing a show right now talking about the Quest. He's probably talking about, this Valve Index thing. So mission accomplished like a mofo. Oh my God.
Yep.
What about this question, Chris? Do you think there's any possibility that Valve is actually going to have a retail presence with this thing? Maybe they're in Microsoft stores. Maybe they're at Fry's Electronics or Micro Center or something. So maybe I can still get one. Is what
I
I'm
think
trying
the
to say.
Steam machine kind of burned their bridge with retail. Like those things came and just thudded onto the. Nobody bought a Steam machine, and they were just sitting there for months until they finally discounted them and got them the hell off the shelves. And it's like, I've got a Steam controller. I hate the thing. I've got the Steam Link. I never use it. It's like every one of their hardware products up until this point has kind of been a bit of a thud. So I'm betting this is an online only thing, and they're planning on doing the drip feed of availability, thus creating demand, thus creating interest.
Yeah, yeah. Jarillo in chat has a pretty good comment right here. He says, June is far away, Anthony. More pre-orders will show up magically soon when the PR stunt of sold out is basically over with. So what he's saying is, this is marketing. This is marketing. Look at my thumbnail. Valve Index sold out. What the hell's going on here? This is the hype machine, right? And so a couple of weeks from now, when all of this has died down and everybody's kind of returned to reality a little bit, magically a whole bunch more Valve Indexes somehow show up, and they gladly take my $999. Do you
And you'll
think?
be happy about it, won't you? You'll be
Yeah,
singing the praises when it occurs.
exactly. Wag the dog, baby. Wag the dog. It's marvelous, huh?
Yeah.
What about this aspect of this whole entire thing? Because I don't know that I've heard anyone mention this at all. And congratulations to me if no one else has ever mentioned this on any other show. But HTC Vive, right? What do people hate about HTC? Like, what do they hate more than anything about HTC?
Their service.
Their support, their customer support, right? Like their warranty, like honoring their warranty, fixing their products. Well, guess what? With Valve, do we have any history? What's like what happens when this thing breaks? We send it back to Valve. Like, are they prepared for that whole entire thing?
Maybe that's another reason for the limited supply. Like maybe they've got double what they're allowing to go out so that they can do a quick swap, instead of having to actually repair or, try and replace when things come back in stock. They might have an emergency backup of a whole unit that they can just send you if something goes wrong.
That's possible. Wizard King in chat says VR Roundtable, F Reality crossover show coming soon. I'll just say anybody on F Reality that wants to come on this program or VR Roundtable, we'd absolutely love to have you guys. Like I want to do a show with Nathy. I'd love to do a show with Zim Talk, with Mike, anybody on F Reality. I'd love to have like Cass from Cass and Chari on here. Lots of people. There's so many people. I'm starting to think big, like trying to get different guests and stuff. Like Jason Rubin, Oculus. You want to come on, bruh? I'll talk to you about the early Naughty Dog days. I had a Panasonic 3DO. I played Way of the Warrior. I'll talk about your second game ever, pretty much. But yeah, that would be fun. But let's see, what were we talking about here? Yeah, well, so we're talking about the support, and we're wondering, how will the Valve support be? But it's a major question. I mean, it really is because I know what I was going to say.
It certainly has been for Steve and his Pi Max. Did Steve get his pre-order in?
Yes, he did. Steve has a habit of things always work out for Steve. It kind of bothers me a little bit in a jealous way, I guess. No, I'm serious. He always gets these things. Like he always freaking make sure that. See, the thing is, like, if you were really going to pre-order this immediately, you have to like have your like credit card information like already in your Steam. You know what I mean? You have to have it all ready to go. And Steve's the type of person that would probably double check everything, make sure everything's immediately ready so that when he goes in to try to order it, it's like bada boom, bada bing. Where me, I'd be like, oh man, I don't even have a freaking I don't even have my credit card connected to this or PayPal or whatever. And it would like delay me. So I'd be screwed. You know,
Anthony, you've avoided having your PI Max broken twice.
That's true. Yeah. I don't have a PI Max.
Exactly.
Well, that's the main reason I didn't buy one, because of all the horror stories. You know what? Don't hate the hustle. That's Steve in chat right there. You know what's funny? Yeah, I'm jealous of the hustle is what I am. You know what's funny? I was listening to the MRTV Sweeviver show that was yesterday, right? And so they were talking about the prices of all these different things. And at one point, Sebastian was talking about the PI Max controllers, and he's like, you guys don't need to buy these knuckle controllers. You can wait and get the PI Max controllers for much cheaper. And I'm like, I want to reach through the internet and grab them because I'm like, dude, you really think the PI Max controllers are gonna freaking hold even like a fraction of a candle to the real Valve Index controllers? Like there's no comparison. There's no comparison there. You know, they might look similar.
I watched the clickbait show that he had today saying that the PI Max controllers were cheaper. And then at the end of his discussion about the Sword controllers, he's like, oh, and we don't know what the price of these controllers are. So it's like,
maybe he realized, oh, I wasn't supposed to give that information, so I don't really know what the price is. But no, I love Sebastian and Sweeviver. Those guys are great. I like their shows. It's fun. They've got a good camaraderie too, and But Sweeviver, did you hear that long show they did about the Valve Index? It was like just the other day. Oh, because Sweeviver, man, he like will be negative about things or like critical. Like he'll be critical about things. At least
that's interesting because he's usually very nice. He's usually very, laid back.
Sebastian's watching us right now. Sebastian's watching right now.
I saw that he had an issue with the FOV being the reason that it's 20% greater is that your eyeball is getting closer, and he was like not thinking that was
kind of
cool
fake.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a true greater FOV.
It is a little bit of a cheating on the FOV as far as that goes. Yeah, Sebastian's in chat. That's funny.
Sebastian.
But yeah, you've never tried the OG Vive. You've never tried an OG Vive.
I've tried
you have? Okay,
yeah,
but
if
you were to take that face gasket off of there and just put it right under your head, you can, well, at least I could get so far up in that thing that I swear to you, it was like a night and day difference, because the thing that I did is I had this like little 3 millimeter face gasket that I was using that I made it myself. I just cut it with scissors and stuff, and it was ghetto as could be, right? But but I put it on there, and it would just give me just enough support where I could deal with it, right? But whenever my son wanted to play my Vive, he would come in and he'd be like, "No, Dad, I can't use this one." He needed because it hurt him too much, and so I would get the real one, and I gave it, put the real one on, and then he'd play whatever he was playing. And then like a couple hours later, oh, now it's time for me to go into VR, and I forgot that he used it. And I put it on with the retail, and I'm like, oh my God, this field of view is tiny. I'm so far away from the screen. This sucks. It was really a total night and day difference. That's why in that tested video, they said that moving 1 centimeter was the equivalent of like 30 degrees or like 20 degrees. And I believe that. I absolutely believe that.
Well, that's a heavy headset too, for you to be, cutting down on the cushion. So I can understand that being like a painful thing for a long-term session.
Well, what's interesting too, way back when that was going on, people were talking about doing like foam mods and like, people were talking about doing what I was doing. And Chet Falazek, who doesn't work for Valve anymore, but he was like the main Valve spokesperson at that time. Like he was kind of like their front man for VR, right? He said that you people that are doing that, that the headsets weren't designed for your eyeballs to be that close. So you're going to get all kinds of like distortions on the outer edges, and he's like, you guys might want to be careful about that. And I remember that because I remember thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I do know that when I did it, I could see the concentric circles, like the Fresnel circles. I could
Mhm.
notice them a lot more, like they were much more obvious. So that was one of the downsides of it.
Yeah, yeah. It'll
But
be interesting to see what they've got for lenses in this thing. I want to try it, but I have no clue where I'm going to be able to go to do so. So
what's
that's the problem.
what city are you in?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Okay. Well, you could probably. I mean, you tried somebody's freaking Magic Leap. I haven't tried a Magic Leap.
Yeah, I should check with that guy. He probably
Yeah, he'd
got this
probably
as
have
well.
everything. There's a guy actually. There is a guy that's in. He reached out to me. There's a guy that's in Palo Alto. He works in like for his business. He does like a lot of immersive stuff, and he has a Pi Max. He has a Magic Leap. He has all of it, and he actually sent me an email and he said whenever I want to come down there and check all these toys out, he'd be happy to have me down there. But it's a hell of a drive. But I need to do it one of these days. I need to take him up on his offer.
Yep. For
But yeah.
science.
For science, yeah, absolutely for science. Okay, you know what? So, I mean, there's some other news we can get into. Like one of the things that I heard today. I mean, everybody's so into the freaking Valve Index thing. You know, that's all anybody wants to talk about. But there are other things that are happening in this world. For example, we found out that there's 5 demos that are going to be on the Oculus Quest, like when you buy it. So there's no pack-in game, but there is 5 demos. And the 5 demos that are preloaded, you got a Beat Saber demo, which that's awesome. That's a great idea. They have the Beat Saber tutorial, and then I think there's 2 songs that you can play, which that's pretty good. That's actually a cool demo. They have a Creed Rise to Glory demo on there. They have a Sport Scramble demo that just lets you play a little bit of like just tennis, like a little bit of it. They have a Space Pirate Trainer demo and a Journey of the Gods demo. So there's going to be 5 demos on the Oculus Quest. What do you think about that? Are you disappointed at all that there isn't any games that are packed in with the machine?
Not really, because I'm an old Oculus guy, so I've got some Oculus games that I'm expecting cross-buy to actually work for. Like, I bought some of their packs when I first got the Summer of Rift deal, and they were like, "Here's a bunch of software packs that are must-buys," and so I purchased those, and they're sitting in my library, and I'm hoping that any of them that are coming to the Quest are just going to pop up as full-fledged games. And have you noticed some of the sales that they've been doing have been on things like Creed? They've been on these games that are going to come to Quest. And I'm wondering, is this a way that they're getting, it's like a hint, hey guys, you might want to buy this while it's on sale, and then you'll just have it when the thing comes out.
Yeah, it would be cool if they leaned into that a little bit more. I think it's almost just accidental what they're doing as far as that goes. But the one thing they are doing that's quite interesting is there are a lot of like Oculus Rift players that really weren't very interested in the Oculus Quest because they're, it's like, I'm a PC gamer. What do I need? A Quest is just going to collect dust. I'm not really going to use it. What would I use it for? I want to play, the highest end games. I got a powerful computer. Why would I want the Quest? But because of this cross-buy thing, a lot of these people are noticing, wow, if I bought a Quest, all of a sudden I've got like 25 games that are just going to be bam. They're just going to pop because I've already bought them. They're cross-buy and I already have them in my Oculus account. So it's almost like I'm an idiot not to buy a Quest. And it's kind of genius how they did that because they're going to get a lot more Quest sales because of it. Because it's almost like people are like, well, I might as well buy a Quest. I'm going to get like 17 free games right on the first day.
Well, here's a question I've got for you. Can your account work on both the Quest and your Rift at the same time? for multiplayer games, for instance, that are
Yeah.
cross-play and cross-buy.
That is a major question. And you know what I wonder about that? So, like Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis, there's a number of people out there, like YouTubers and people that are reviewers. Like Addie Robertson was tweeting about her Oculus Quest in her car or something. And I'm like, man, all these people with these damn Oculus Quests. But I wonder if they could test that, and I wonder if they could report back on that prior to
I
May
hope they,
21st, because
yeah.
we would love to know the answer to that. Like, oh, you know what? Fast Travel Games, the developers of Apex Construct, which has already been reviewed. What do you think about these reviews like a month early? Um,
Yeah,
you're okay with that?
yeah. I mean, it's good to know more information about the Quest and just how you know we know so little right now. I'm starved for information, Anthony. Give me anything if you're not going to give me the damn thing. So yeah,
But the thing about reviewing them so early is I feel like 3 weeks from like for example, okay, they just reviewed Apex Construct. Upload VR reviewed it and they really loved it. They said I think they gave it like an 8.5 out of 10 or something. You know, they gave it a very good score. Man, I've been running this Ghost Giant trailer for about 20 minutes here. Hold on, let me just put on something different. But they really liked it, right? And and they gave it a great score. But the problem is 3 weeks from now, like the hype of that review will have faded off into the wild blue yonder, you know, and other games will be reviewed right at that time. I just feel like reviewing so far ahead of time, I don't know. I just think, I mean, I understand it. I get it. You know, Steve was saying, well, they can't review 50 games in one day. I understand that, but they can do they could be working on the reviews right now and not post them 20 days in advance. They could post them maybe 10 days in advance.
there'll be plenty to review when you get yours, Anthony. Don't sweat what they're doing. That'd be my take. I mean, I enjoy having the information personally because I want to know, like that I might not be interested in getting Creed on the Quest. But I am
Now you're
very
not.
interested.
Now
I
you're
am.
not.
I am very interested in Box VR because that's one of my favorite games on the PC, and having it without the cord, yay! I want to try that stuff out, and I'd like to see, are they keeping the ability to, throw mods in and throw in your own, not mods, but your own MP3s. That's a huge thing for me with that game.
What do you think about the sweat factor, though? You bring up a game like Box VR.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is another pain point for me because the way I think about like exercise games or like Dance Central, Beat Saber, Creed, there's a lot of games where you're going to be moving around, you're going to be getting sweaty. And I feel like I kind of wish that some of these manufacturers, these headset manufacturers, would lean into this whole sweat thing and embrace it. Embrace it from the standpoint of making it incredibly easy to pop a face gasket off and pop another one on and to buy like a 10-pack. So you can pop these things off and on like it's going out of style. One beautiful thing about the Valve Index, going back to the Valve Index, and we didn't talk about this yesterday, me and Steve did not bring up this aspect, but did you see the face thing that comes off of it, and it has the magnetic thing that you just pop it back on, you pop it off, you pop it back on? It's a magnetic thing. I could put the Valve Index trailer on here, and at one point it shows the thing popping off and popping back on, which I thought that is genius idea. That is a great idea. I'm so glad that Valve designed this. Of course, this trailer. Steve did this trailer for me, and it's 720p, so I got to resize it here. But yeah, so I got the Valve Index trailer on right now, and at a certain point, they actually show you removing the entire face gasket part, and it's magnetic. So you can, and they said that they're going to release the schematics or whatever so that you can use like 3D printers and stuff and make customized facial gaskets. So you can like fine tune it for your individual face and then have a thing that just goes zoop and it just snaps on? Because like, I mean, what have you done with in regards to sweat? Like, have you ever had problems with games like Box VR or Beat Saber and getting sweaty?
VR cover, baby. I
Oh,
bought them for my Oculus Rift. I bought them for um, my Odyssey, my Samsung Odyssey. I've got those things all over the place. And I also bought from them like the paper versions, so when I had a party, I could actually swap them out and just throw them away. So like there are solutions. The interesting thing is, I don't know if you remember this, but there's a Go version that is for business, and it actually has a different facial interface. It's not the cloth one; it's more that pleather thing, and it's designed so that you can, wipe it down with an antiseptic wipe for the next user, that sort of thing. I noticed it when I went to get a demo recently at a Best Buy and ran into one of the Oculus reps and was trying to pump him for information, but he was a steel trap and wouldn't give me any. But I noticed his interface on the Go that he had wasn't the same, the facial interface. It was the leather one. And then I remembered, oh yeah, it was that business edition. It was like $100 more, but like that was one of the things it had. And you can just take the whole interface off, and I assume Oculus is going to sell extra interfaces, so you could basically.
but did you hear? Okay, right here they just took the facial thing off, and they're showing you the
I'm
little.
7 seconds behind.
Yeah, you're 7 seconds away. So in 7 seconds, make sure to look at this. But basically, they take the thing off and then they just put it back on. So it's only for a second there, but it's magnetic. And I thought, man, why isn't everybody doing that? Because man,
That's the antimicrobial cloth. Is that what they are using?
yeah, I'm not sure exactly. But one of the things that Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis, he was saying that it's like glued on. I think he's talking about the foam, like the forehead part of the foam and then the back part of the foam. Because like when I tried the Rift S, I'm talking about the Rift S in terms of it being glued on.
Mm-hmm.
When I tried the Rift S at GDC, I was like, oh my God, this is so comfortable. It feels so good. It's so nice. Like it's like I've always said, PlayStation VR is like a pillow on my head, but the Rift S is even more of a pillow because it's even more fluffy and more soft. Mm-hmm. But that foam, the first, and you could go back to the MRTV video where me and him were standing in front of the booth there at Oculus and we were talking. Mm-hmm. And I said, dude, Beat Saber players are going to have a major problem with this because that foam is going to get soaked with sweat. And Mike
now, are you talking about the foam that's around your face?
No,
or are you talking about the two big things that are on your forehead for the head?
Yeah, the forehead and then the back of your head. But I'm not sure about the face gasket as well. That might be glued on as well.
The face gasket is. That's what Mike showed in his unboxing video.
So you have to go VR cover. You have to go VR cover, and you have to go with like the fake pleather VR cover and then just wipe it off. Like from a sweat standpoint, you're going to have to go that route.
Yeah, something like that. He also said that if you wear glasses and you go for the lenses, it's the exact same lenses that work in the I think he said the Go. But he has those replaceable lenses that you plug into the thing, and he said that it was exactly the same. He didn't have to buy another set.
Okay.
So we're getting info, but it's coming in dribbles and drabs. We're not getting them from the source.
Yeah, I mean the thing that like I've never got a VR cover where it's just the little leather overlap. And people love them because, like you said, you just wipe it off. You just wipe it, like it doesn't absorb the sweat. I actually like the idea of absorbing the sweat. But see, what I think of is having a bunch of them. So it's like, okay, this absorbed a lot of sweat. Now it's soaking wet and it's nasty as hell. Have you ever put on a headset that was already soaking wet? Oh my God, I did. It's the worst feeling ever. Ever.
I think that's one of the suffering things that we all encounter. And we're trying to save that from people that we're trying to interest in VR. So like that's why we look for solutions to, not have that be the case. If you're in a party You don't want to take somebody's
Yeah.
sweaty face plate and put it on your face. That's just
But
nasty.
but if you just put that little leather, that little fake leather cover that just kind of wraps over it, the
Mhm.
problem with that is it's not absorbing any sweat. So the sweat is just kind of like dripping around. So like the person playing, like they have to stop and like they gotta wipe them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I understand it. I get it. I don't know. I like my idea. Like, I like the idea of having a bunch of foam gaskets and just swapping them out, and you let it. You have like 10 of them, and so yeah, one of them's soaking wet. Okay, you put it over there, and tomorrow it'll be fine. Right?
But is it fine? It's still got the sweat in there.
No,
How
it
do you
dried. It
actually clean
evaporates,
that?
right?
That's the problem, sir.
I thought it
I
evaporates. Okay,
yeah.
so why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and bounce over to like Road to VR because I haven't really checked like the news stories today. So let's see if there's any breaking news that's going on. So I'm going to switch back over here. I still got your video down there in the corner there. So at least we got a little bit of you. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's go to Upload VR. Let's see what some of the stories are. Go ahead and refresh this here. And all right, so nobody cares about anything Facebook, right? Okay, we're scrolling down here. Yeah, Valve Index pre-orders now available for about 1 minute. Oh, this is an interesting story right here. Oculus Quest Enterprise Edition, $999. And then after the first year, you got to pay $180 a year. Now, when I first saw this, I was not shocked by it because what I thought this was for like VR arcades. And what I thought is, oh my God, Oculus finally, after freaking 3 years, they've finally come up with a way to let people, to let VR arcades have people actually in the Oculus store and playing actual Oculus games. And they've got like a Springboard VR that Oculus has developed. I thought, okay, finally this is done, right? And then I click
That's
on
a
the
big
story.
plus.
It has nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that.
What
It's
is it?
yeah. It says the edition will include mass device management from a web interface. Administrators will be able to deploy device profiles in mass, install or update apps remotely, or even wipe devices. It also includes 2 years of enterprise-grade priority support via phone, live chat, or email. Enterprise editions will also have exclusive features, which possibly refers to features like controller-free kiosk mode. But basically, this is designed more for like BMW showrooms or something. This is not a solution for VR arcades. So like some people were talking about, oh, the reason the Oculus Quest is selling out so fast is because a bunch of VR arcades are going to buy all these Oculus Quests. But how are they going to use them? Because the only way they could legally use them is by side loading content that they've got an agreement with, like they've got a license for. Because you still, to this day, because there was a time when I was interested in making a mobile VR business. Like I was actually going to do this mobile VR business. And so I was really interested in this. I was really researching this, really looking into this. And I discovered that Oculus has no strategy for this. I emailed people at Oculus, like I was contacting people at Oculus, and they emailed me back and they said, oh no, we're working on something. We're going to have a lot more to say at Oculus Connect 6. And then Oculus Connect 6 came and went. They didn't say a word about it because I thought what Oculus was going to do. Have you ever heard of Springboard VR?
Yep.
Okay, so I thought Oculus was basically going to copy Springboard VR, but make their own internal version. And then the Oculus Quest, like every VR arcade you would ever go to, you'd see tons of Oculus Quest because it would make
It's a
so
turnkey
much.
solution for
Yeah,
arcades.
yeah, turnkey. Although people are running out of the door with them on, that's the problem because they're not wired, right?
Yeah, that might be an issue.
But yeah, no, this whole $999 Enterprise Edition It's for like BMW showrooms or for like General Motors or like I don't know,
I
like
don't know
some.
about that actually, Anthony. I think this might be the bare bones skeleton of what you're asking for. I mean,
I don't
when they
think
say you
so.
can deploy to multiple units, I mean that'd be what you'd need to do if you were going to get a multiplayer game up and running, and being able to control everything from a central point. Plus, they already showed that Quest game at OC5 last year. That was, 3-on-3 in a 4,000 square feet arena. I'm betting they use something like this in order to run it, because when I asked about how do I get access to something like this if I wanted to do it
Okay, well,
as a business, they
o-
said contact us.
okay, so here's what I will agree on. If you have a very specific game application that you're running that is like arena scale with multiple people, yeah, I think you could use this for that, but that would be you would be side loading that into it on all of them. And what I'm talking about like a springboard VR, where like if somebody's playing Arizona Sunshine for 5 minutes, it automatically calculates that, and you're paying so much per, you're paying like 19 cents a whatever. They charge like springboard VR. You're paying like a certain fee for all these different games per
Hmm.
minute based on someone using that headset. And
Yep.
like, so somebody, for example, like if they had it set up the right way, you would go to a VR arcade, you'd put on the Oculus Go, and you could go to the Oculus store and pick any game you want and just play it. They don't care because they're charging you for everything. So you're not buying any game. They're charging you per minute.
Yeah.
Oculus is getting money. The VR arcade is getting money. Blah 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 blah. But
You're
anyway,
talking Viveport like. You want something that
I'm
has
talking
all the games.
springboard VR like is what I'm talking.
Well, yeah,
Um,
yeah, but like Oculus doesn't have something along these lines. That's
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's a topic that, I mean, I saw this on Upload VR and it scared me for a minute. It says Oculus sells out of the first 3 days of Quest and Rift S stock. New pre-orders ship on May 24th. And then the other thing that scared me is I heard people buying it from Best Buy online, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about people buying it from Best Buy online, because see, I'm planning to go to Best Buy and just stand out front and be one of the first 5 people in front of Best Buy, and I figure I'm going to get my damn go, right? But not if people like you bought them all online.
yeah, baby.
Do you think they'll have like separate allotments for online and for in-store? I got to imagine they got to have a few for in-store customers, right?
If there's stock, I
Oh
mean,
my
if they
God,
sell
don't
out.
make me cry. Don't make me cry. I'm not getting anything. I guess I'm just going to go play my PSVR over there in the corner. That's all I'm going to
I think
do.
Oculus though has had the time to do that manufacturing, and they have been serious about this. So it's not going to. My guess is it's not going to be like the Valve situation. You'll probably be able to walk into a store and buy one.
Well, there's other retailers as well. I mean, there's Target, there's
Walmart.
Walmart, there's Costco. I mean, there's Fry's. I mean, I don't know if all these places are going to get them, but there are. I mean, Walmart is, I
Walmart
think.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But
Walmart,
why isn't GameStop? I don't understand that.
yeah. Well, GameStop's kind of a dead creature altogether, right? I mean, they're kind of dropping like flies. Okay, so did you see this Boneworks? The gameplay apparently basically identical to the Valve Index controllers if you got Oculus Touch controllers. And
Ooh.
so on Twitter today, Stress Level Zero developer Brandon Latch
Mhm.
showed off a first-person view of playing Boneworks with a touch, basically saying, pretty much saying that it works perfectly fine. In fact, here's a quote. He says, I develop Boneworks every day using the touch controllers since the majority of users, that's kind of a dig right there, right? Since the majority of users will be using touch or controllers with similar analog grip input. Others at our studio use knuckles and other controllers. Boneworks will have feature parity regardless of controller choice. Obviously, finger tracking is visually nice, and a controller that you can release when throwing is immersive, but it doesn't affect the gameplay. So do you think people buying, because Boneworks, I mean, that could be on like the Oculus store and everything as well, right?
Um, yeah, I imagine it's just going to be on Steam, and people are going to access it through Steam.
Well, I
Um,
mean, Duck Season and Hover Junkers, I think both of those were on the Oculus store.
mm, yeah, that's interesting because isn't there a squeeze ability on the Valve Index controller? Like you can squeeze things. Is that not something Boneworks will have functionality for?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're just leaving
Tim
that out.
Lot, Tim Lot in chat says GameStop is taking Quest pre-orders.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, don't trust what you hear in chat all the time because I see
Don't
a
trust
lot
what you
of.
hear in GameStop either.
Oh, definitely don't trust that. Absolutely don't trust that. But yeah, just looking at the Apex Construct Quest review, I just wanted to double check what score they gave it. 8 out of 10, great. Says Apex Construct might have lost some of its visual sheen in the journey to Oculus Quest, but it's all in service to the gameplay. In the heat of battle, dodging incoming projectiles and returning fire, I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you if I was playing on Rift or Quest. That's pretty awesome. Did you ever play Apex Construct?
That's one I've purchased and have never played.
Whoa, dude, it's pretty good. I like it.
Oh,
It's a
I'm no. I just haven't had the time. It's
So
like
you're
I
one of
saw it
these
on
people
sale.
that buys games and don't play them. There's a lot of people
Often
like
at
you.
your suggestion, sir, I'm watching your
Ah.
show and you'll say, "This is on discount. You should get it now." And I'll push the go button.
Okay, but don't you remember my other suggestion? My other suggestion, don't ever buy something unless you're going to play 20 minutes of it that same day, because then that'll save you a lot of money.
It would. It
That'll
would. But
save
no,
you.
what I do is I wait for, times like I'm about to go to New England for a month, and I'll have plenty of opportunity to play games. So, guess what's going in my luggage? My backpack PC with my headset. I was hoping it would be my Quest, but that's not happening. So,
But with your whole backpack thing, like, I would think the Rift S would be a pretty nice option
yeah,
for you because of,
that's
yeah.
exactly. But like I still hunker. I yes. I've also got a machine with a 1080 Ti. My backpack PC only has a 1060 in it. So I'm always I'm balancing the two. But like it's an expensive summer already, and I can't do it all. So I
So
have to make choices.
Wizard King says confirmed GameStop is taking Quest orders.
Uh,
And Caleb Law says, I went to GameStop to pre-order Quest and they didn't even know what a Quest was. Okay, well, there's two
Yeah.
opposing thought
I went
processes
to
there.
a GameStop. I've got one at the bottom of my street. A couple of weeks ago, they had no clue what the Quest was.
Dude, GameStop is such a weird place, man. I mean, because I haven't been there in so long, but like when you go in there, they got all this other stuff, because like they don't make money on games anymore, so they got like all these little trinkets and stuff.
Tchotchkes,
Yeah,
games, board
and
games,
or repairing phones.
t-shirts.
Like they'll repair your phones and all these
Really?
other things, like anything they can do.
I
Okay,
think they
so
bought Think Geek, so they do a lot of that stuff.
yeah. Here's a new story, and actually, I kind of ignored this, but this actually might be pretty cool. Okay, so Facebook shows off high-quality, markerless body tracking from a single sensor. And you know me and getting our bodies into VR. I think this is huge, man, because I think our immersion will just jump by leaps and bounds. Okay, so it says at day 2. Oh, I forgot. There's day 2 of F8. I forgot all about that. Like, there's a whole nother day today, right? Like,
There's
I
3 days,
completely
isn't there?
forgot about that. Okay, at day 2 of F8 today, Facebook showed off a demo of body tracking with no markers or worn trackers. The tracking is able to track down to the muscle activation level, not just skeletal, giving a more detailed output. Wow, that is pretty awesome. So what sensor are they using to do this is my question.
You get body tracking with the Quest, don't you?
What do you mean?
I played the 3-on-3 um,
Dead and buried.
dead and buried experience. And when you get scanned in, like when they say stand on these discs, when they scan you in, you see the people who were standing next to you turn into cartoon characters. If you look down at your body, you see your body. You're not a floating ghost with hands. You
Yeah.
see your cartoon body, and it moves when you move.
But that's inverse kinematics. I mean, they're assuming they're they know where your hands are, they know where your head is. I mean, we see this in a lot of games.
Right.
Where
But
but
I thought it was tracking pretty well.
hmm,
I mean, I wasn't staring at my body as I was playing. I was playing the game, so I'm looking at people. But I'm seeing those people move around, and they're not doing the shuffle thing that you'd normally see,
yeah,
where
yeah.
I mean, they did a really nice job of animating the body based on what your headset is doing. So it may have something to do with the fact that you do have two sensors that are scanning down.
Yeah, that's true. Caleb Law says, I just called GameStop. They're taking pre-orders for the Quest. I went there the other day, though, and they had no idea what it was. So it looks like GameStop is legitimately
They
taking
got on
pre-orders.
board.
And
Nice.
what's good about that is you might be able to find one where you could be the first pre-order guy or maybe in the first 5 or something. And
Mm.
then you're probably going to be guaranteed, for day one. Because I got to do this. This is something I'm starting to worry now. I'm like legitimately worrying about my Quest. Okay, just looking at this story here, though, as far as the markerless tracking, it says this is just a research project, not a product, but the results look impressive. It's described as being done with a single external sensor, not an array.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's kind of
This
like
is
a
something
future
else.
looking thing. It's a
Gotcha.
future looking thing. But
Chalk it up with Half Dome.
yeah, this one video down here, the company also showed off a larger scale body tracking demo where two players interacted with a virtual ball on a virtual pitch. The demo was key because it showed the latency was low enough for this kind of sport. And they show these people playing like soccer inside a room, indoors, and then you see them like actually in a real soccer field kind of, but the grass is like way too high. But that's cool though, man, because I'm telling you, I really truly believe that immersion will be just exponentially increased. Like, but see, I want it to be at the point where not only do we have our bodies and it's kind of moving realistically, but I
Mhm.
want to look at my arm and it has like this little mole right here, or like this, the scars, and like I seriously want that. Like, I don't know if I'm crazy for wanting that, but I really do.
I'm telling you, man, Microsoft missed a trick because all they're doing is using a Kinect-like device and doing what they were doing years ago. Um, they were tracking your full body with Kinect, and if they
Oh,
just used the damn headset on the game system, they'd be there.
yeah, yeah.
But they ditched it.
Blasters of the Universe. I heard a story about this, and I thought the free weekend was last weekend, and then I was looking everywhere, and I'm like, it's not free, but apparently it's this weekend coming up. So, Blasters of the Universe, one of my favorite, I honestly think this is one of the best wave shooters in VR,
Hmm.
period. Like, the gameplay is just great. It's getting a free access weekend. And the sad thing about this is somebody could hop on, like if it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, like there's people that could finish this entire game, over a
Hmm.
weekend and not have to pay a penny. But I mean, whatever. If you want to do it, go ahead. Secret Locations, well received, bullet hell shooter, Blasters of the Universe is getting a free weekend on Rift in the next few days. So starting on May 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time, going until May 6th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, dude, Blaster. Have you never played this one?
That I have. I
Wow.
I played the um, Space Pirate Trainer. Love it,
Okay.
and it seemed too similar to it for me. Is it really that much different?
No, it's different. This is very different, and also it's very retro. Like it has a lot of retro stuff going on in it. And
Hmm.
see, the thing about this game, Blasters of the Universe, what I'll say about it is the actual gameplay loop of it is fantastic because you've got this shield and then you've got guns. But the thing is, I'm trying to remember how the mechanics work, but I think it's like you can only use the shield at certain times, or the shield has like a meter on it that kind of expires after a while. So you've got to be really on your toes about, do I use the shield right now? Do I use my gun? Do I just try to dodge stuff? And when I was first playing this game, I had a problem with it because I was like, how am I going to dodge out of the way of this stuff? But then when I came to realize is it only hits your head. So like if a shot goes here and hits you right in your chest, it doesn't count. It's only worried about your head. And once I figured that out, it like completely changed the gameplay for me. And I'm telling you, try it this weekend. You will really enjoy it on the Oculus Rift. It's really good. I've also seen this. HTC is giving away 2 free months of Viport Infinity to owners of the Index and Rift S. They're like actually coming out with this story. They're like, oh, the Rift S and the Valve Index is all in the news. How do we get HTC to be in the news a little bit as well? And Main
Software, baby.
Main Fan says, Anthony, you've beaten a Blasters level? I'm pretty sure I have. Main Fan. But don't quote me on that. Because Main Fan always is like, Anthony, you've actually played this? I don't really believe you. Because Main Fan's the guy that finishes games. In fact, on the Virtual Strangers episode, I Am Roots, which I called him I Am Ruts for about a year, but I Am Roots was saying Main Fan is the closer. He finishes games. He's like our closer. Have you ever heard the Virtual Strangers podcast?
No, I'm going to, though.
It's
I've heard
very good.
You've talked them up very well.
Well, no, I'll talk them up even more, man, because I'll tell you what. Let me find their podcast real quick here, because I'll show you. The thing is, I listen to their podcast, and you know what it does? Is it basically, man, this is like way zoomed in. I got to zoom out of here. I listen to their podcast, and what happens is they're talking about all these different games, and it just makes me want to play them. You know, it's like, oh, they're talking about the original Windlands. And I'm like, yeah, I love the original Windlands. And I never completely finished it. Now I want to play the original Windlands. Like Alex was talking about the original Windlands.
You know, I would get lost in Windlands. Like, I literally didn't know which way I was supposed to go next. I like cleared out an area, and then I didn't have the geography in my mind. So I was like, just seemed to be circling.
The original Windlands, I was kind of wandering around too, like am I done with this level? What am I doing? Do I need to go to the next? Dude, they only have 174 subscribers. This is a crying shame. Okay, Virtual Strangers, this is a fantastic podcast. I really like this podcast. The one recommendation I would make for the guys over there is what they do is, so towards the end of the show, I mean, not the end of the show, but like halfway through the show, everybody, there's 4 of them. There's 4 different hosts, right? And each of the 4 guys, they pick 2 games to talk about. And so Lethal Weasel VR is one of the guys. I Am Roots is one of the guys. Main Fan is one of the guys. And then Alex, which is A_Gilling. Like you'll see him on here. And so it's these 4 guys, and they do it. And they each pick 2 games. The only thing I would kind of like them to change, but maybe I'm wrong about this, but what they do is like Lethal Weasel will pick 2 games, he'll talk about his 2 games, then they go to Main Fan, he'll talk about his 2 games, then they go to I Am Ruts, I Am Roots, and he'll do his 2 games, and then they go to Alex, he'll do his 2 games. What I want them to do is go to each of the guys and just do 1 game, and then go back to him again for for 1 more game. Like cycle it around like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm
mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. I just feel like it would be a little bit better if they did that. But I love their podcast. I really like it. It's a great podcast. And then Rendered Reality is the other podcast I really recommend for everybody out there. See, I'm back at work and I'm back in a cubicle and I got to listen to podcasts. So I need as many podcasts as I can possibly get. And Rendered Reality, they let me click on this here. See, Sean just did a podcast, Valve Drops Bomb on F8. I did not steal your title, Sean. I don't know when you guys uploaded that. I did not steal your title. I guess we were just thinking along the same lines. But he did a quick little episode where he was just talking about the news of the Valve Index. But normally, what they do is they have a show called Coffee and VR, and they do a pretty long show, Coffee and VR, very similar to like what we're doing right now, where they're just talking about VR stuff. But really good. There's just a lot of good stuff out there. So I'm always
You're getting your wish. More and more VR podcasts are popping up.
Yeah, and it is absolutely my wish because I need it. I need these things now. Okay, let's take a look at the Oculus Rift subreddit. If you have to go, let me know. You know.
Quick thing. Did you see the story about the Rift S coming bundled with something? It's on Upload. It comes bundled with VR art apps, Quill and Medium.
Oh, does it? No, I didn't hear.
It's the May 1st story, just today.
Okay. Well, we're on the Oculus. I'm on the Oculus Rift subreddit right here, so maybe they'll have some stories like that. But yeah, they're talking about Oculus sells out of the first 3 days of Quest and Rift F stock. So GameStop, guys, GameStop. I'm going to call GameStop after this show is over. I might drive down there and try to get my pre-order in, because if I can be in like the top 3 or something. When does GameStop open? Like 10 a.m., I think, right?
Sounds right.
So Oculus Rift S setup, unboxing and tips, virtual reality oasis. Like, he did the unboxing and stuff. And see, when he was doing the unboxing, he didn't mention anything about pack-ins. And I thought that was kind of strange. And so, like, I'm kind of surprised he didn't. He
probably doesn't have it because he got the thing early. And the pack-ins will be probably a code, a piece of paper they stick in with codes.
Yeah, but it seemed like he had like the retail box.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're talking
they might not have had the codes ready.
True. They're talking about the foam. They're talking about the glued foam. The glued foam is worrisome, but I guess we'll get some expensive official replacements. Yeah, the glued foam. Like, I wonder why it's not just on like a what do you call it? Like Velcro or something. You know, kind of like the original Vive. Okay. Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's any other interesting little news stories that popped up. If there's any other interesting news that you want to bring up, go ahead. I'm looking for stuff now.
Well, one of the things that I've always felt is interesting about the VR landscape is how you get pushed from one place to the other. Like, I started on the Rift, so I was buying all my games on the Oculus Store until I realized, wait, I can buy them on the Steam Store, and sometimes the Steam Store is cheaper. So I started, debating where to buy things. But then when I got my my Windows Mixed Reality headset, none of the Oculus games were working properly with that, unless I did it through, the application. But that's a weird middle ground because that application, what is it called? The Vive.
Viveport? Viveport?
No. The thing that allows you to play Oculus games on a Vive.
Oh, Revive.
The Revive developers do not make Revive optimizations for games that are available on Steam. I actually talked with them about it because there was a game that I had purchased on the Oculus Store. It wasn't working properly through Revive on my Windows Mixed Reality thing, and he's like, just buy it on Steam. That one came out there, so we don't put any time on that. And that can be an issue for a person if you are new to all this and jumping around trying to figure out where to buy your stuff.
Okay, here it is. I found it. The Oculus Rift S comes bundled with... Okay, let's check this out. So it comes bundled with VR apps, Quill and Medium, but no games are included. So like these people don't get Robo Recall. They don't get like the original Dead and Buried. What was all the different stuff that people got? I don't even remember now, all the different games. I mean, they'll still get Lucky's Tale, because if you go on to the Oculus if you open anybody that opens an Oculus account, you get
Mhm.
Lucky's Tale for free. Like even if you never even own an Oculus. Like I remember I was playing Lucky's Tale for free, didn't have an Oculus Rift. I kind of felt bad about that. Like I still feel like I gotta buy something from Playful to make up for what I did. You know what I mean? I feel guilty. I do. I really do. Because I didn't even have an Oculus. Like if I had an Oculus, I wouldn't have felt guilty, but I had a Vive. And so I gotta buy Star Child. So where is Star Child, goddammit?
It was the Unspoken, Robo Recall. Eve Valkyrie was available for free if you purchase it from Best Buy. For some reason, Best Buy gave you a code.
And I bought it from Best Buy at the Summer of Rift. I bought it from Best Buy, and on my receipt, I had a code for Eve Valkyrie. And I was like, extra bonus.
Yep.
Extra bonus.
But that was only if you bought it there. I actually bought it from Amazon, and Amazon was late in getting my thing to me, so I went out and bought it from Best Buy, and then sent the the Amazon one back.
You know, that's the exact reason why I did not pre-order a Quest or a Rift S from Amazon. I didn't do it at all because for some reason Amazon, like they would definitely deliver my Quest on May 21st, but it might come at like 10 p.m. at night or like 8 p.m. or something. Because for some reason, whenever they deliver stuff to my house, it's like I'm the last stop of the day a lot of the times. And so I'm like, well, I'd rather just go at 10 a.m. and get my Quest right away and, you know, be unboxing it and playing it within a couple of hours and not waiting until 9 p.m.
Well, the Summer of Rift was so popular that my 2-day Prime shipping, they said 2-day when I ordered it, but then when I looked at it, it actually said it was going to take a week to get to me. And I called them and complained about that. And they were like, we can't do anything. That's what our stock says. So that's
another thing that Amazon is doing too. Well, they'll say, oh yeah, it's going to be delivered by, and then always it's like a day later or something. That happens a lot of times. Okay, Let me read this here for the Oculus Rift S. Like this one guy says, odd decision. Should have included at least Robo Recall. A great showcase for new users and a must-buy anyway. And then this one guy says, he says they even say free with touch. They're still touch controllers. Like if you go to the, you go to the Oculus store, like some of these games say free with touch, and they're like, hey, wait a minute, these are still touch controllers, guys. So maybe you need to change that wording there if you're not giving these games away for free anymore.
Definitely. Someone's been sleeping at the controls.
Yeah, what about this? So on May 21st, the Quest comes out. All these games are coming out. There's like 53 of them. In fact, I could go to Upload VR. They got an entire list of like the 53 experiences, right, that are coming on May 21st. And my question is, do you think some of these games are going to come to the Rift right away, like that same day? For example, Dead and Buried 2, I think it might be available on May 21st for the Oculus Rift. And the reason why is because it's a cross-play game, right? So you can play with other people.
So you'd want that to be the case. Yeah, and since they're releasing both headsets the exact same day, it completely makes... I think they want the Go, Rift, Quest ecosystem to be at parity. Like, they're not going to debut something just on a Quest and then switch it over. They want all... Didn't they put out a mandate saying that you must do it for both if you're going to develop games?
Well, they want people. They're strongly encouraging people to do both, but I don't think it's an absolute mandate. But, okay, so Dead and Buried 2 is going to be available on day one. Dance Central is also going to be available on day one, and it would not shock me in the least if you're an Oculus Rift player, you don't give a damn about the Quest, you might be playing, like Dance Central might be available on May 21st, maybe. And Dead and Buried 2 is probably even more likely to be available on the 21st. The good news is Vader Immortal will be an exclusive for a little while. Do you remember my episode on Vader Immortal? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I was crazy.
You were hot.
Oh, I was crazy. I was way too crazy. But I still kind of, Dude, I feel like platforms need a few exclusives. You got to have an identity, right? If nobody has any exclusives, you have no identity.
The identity is the cord, Anthony. If you're playing the thing without that goddamn cord, that's a game changer. Game
Yeah.
changer.
Okay, but look at least they got Sports Scramble, right? Or is that coming to the Rift too? The little tennis game, you know?
I don't know. Hey, Box VR had changed its name to Fit XR.
Really? Because the developer's named Fit XR.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind.
No,
Yeah.
Box VR is coming to the Quest. Yeah, the developer is Fit XR. Oh, also Bonfire. You know that it's a what do you call it? It's kind of like The Crow, or like it's a cinematic
An
thing.
experience.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Bonfire
Hey,
by
you were asking
Baobab.
for some experiences. They're doing it.
Yeah, that's good, but there's a lot of them that are missing. Like they're bringing First Contact. I'm really glad they're going to have First Contact on there. But like, where's like Dispatch or like Blade Runner 2049 Memory Lab? You know, like there's a lot of experiences that are really cool that you can get on the Rift. You know, but maybe some of them will be coming a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just
Wouldn't
looking
doubt
at the list here. You know, I mean, they do have, like, they have 53 different things that are going to be coming.
Mhm.
But in terms of actual games, because a lot of these are applications, like Skybox VR video player, or Tilt Brush technically is an application, right? Virtual Desktop is an application. Even VR Chat isn't really a game, to be honest. And then there's like experiences, like they're going to have the National Geographic VR Explorer, which is being done by Forcefield. That might be a pretty cool experience. Guided Tai Chi is going to be an experience. But they have
I
a lot
wonder
of
if some of
games.
the free experiences are going to remain free on the Quest. Like, you don't pay for big screen. Big screen is free currently.
Yeah, it should be free. Oh, you know what? We didn't mention this yesterday. We were talking about the Valve Index. And, you know, in the tested video about the Valve Index, Norman Chan was talking about how big screen VR, because of the 144 hertz or whatever it is, that it felt totally different. Like you really felt like you were in an IMAX. That something about the low persistence and the really high refresh rate could be kind of a game changer. And then like what Denny Unger was talking about, you know, like you guys don't realize, like I really believe the Valve Index is going to be a game changer. Like I think this is going to spoil a lot of us. Like I think it might almost be a negative from the standpoint. I think we're going to get so spoiled by no smearing whatsoever, you know, the low persistence, the really high refresh rate, and the different stuff they're doing with those lenses, like the lack of distortions and stuff. I think we're going to be spoiled by this. I don't think we're going to want to use any other headset. And I think it's going to be a point where it's like, okay, HTC, Oculus, everybody else, you guys got to go back to the drawing board. You got to catch up to this now.
But didn't you and Steve mention that you'd found some account of there being some smear or ghosting in the index, that like you guys were at the end of your podcast, you were going, oh no, you're taking me down a peg. That
People were talking about God rays.
Yeah,
People were talking about God rays because I think Road to VR was saying that okay, and here it is, Art Sin in chat. Index has God rays. Yeah. See, I wonder if some of these people that are like, God rays, God rays, God rays, I wonder if they're Oculus fanboys. It's like, God rays, God rays. You know, so we got one little mountain to stand on there. Yeah.
see.
Do you notice God rays? Like, has that been something that you really notice? Is it bothersome for you?
If it's a black environment with white text on it, for sure. It's like, you know, you can't miss it.
See,
so some space games are you know, that can be an issue.
I only notice it when it's like a title screen, but like when the game starts, I don't notice any God rays. But like I know there's Gary, like there's a lot of people that they notice God rays and it bothers the living crap out of them.
Well, the Rift is still your daily driver, right?
Yeah, that phrase "daily driver," it's so popular right now. What, like 10 years ago, did anybody say daily driver? Seriously, I got to talk about this for a second.
Well, it's applicable, and people know what you're talking
How
about,
did it
right?
get so popular so fast though?
uh, but like the Rift has God rays. Like God rays, I notice compared to the headsets I use now.
Do you have a
So
Go? Do you have a Go?
yeah, I
Because
do.
everybody's like, "Oh, the Go, no God rays finally. It's a game changer, right?"
It is. It is. I mean, I prefer the Go for watching movies over the Rift
Yeah.
and TV.
Yeah, it's interesting because Sweeviver and MRTV, they were talking about, they were also talking about LCD versus OLED, right? And
Hmm.
this is something that Sebastian always talks about,
Yep, the
OLED versus,
blacks.
yeah, the inky blacks and then colors that pop.
Hmm.
But one of
I
the
don't
things,
quite buy his idea that you can't play things like
Elite
uh,
Dangerous or
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's bullshit. That's hogwash.
well, I mean,
Elite
see,
Dangerous is just fine in an LCD.
Rendered Reality says, I always had a daily driver vehicle back in the day and always called it that. I don't know, for some reason, daily driver seems like it's like I've only heard this daily driver thing in like the last couple of years. Like, I swear, if I went back into like early 2000s, I don't remember anybody ever saying daily driver. But it must have been like some TV show or something. It got popular and now everybody says daily driver. It's like one of these things. But yeah, so we're talking about colors, like colors that pop and black levels, right?
Right.
Okay, now Sweeviver, he did make the point though that once you get used to something, you don't notice that it isn't there anymore. Like so, for example, like you get a valve index, and so your blacks are not these inky blacks. The colors don't quite pop as much. But once you've used it for like a month, you don't know what you're missing. Basically, is what he's saying. Like you get
Mhm.
accustomed to it, and it's not an issue anymore. What about that?
That sounds reasonable. I mean, when you're doing something and you did it yesterday and it's the same experience as before, I mean, it's sort of like the whole immersion thing. Like, I think what we're experiencing is the desire to go back to when we first put that VR headset on our face and were blown away by what we saw. And we're hoping that these new technologies are going to give us a little taste of that
And you don't think
renewed.
it's ever coming back?
No,
Oh.
I think it will, but like they're trade-offs, you know. These are all little baby steps. We're right at the beginning of all of this. The differences between this headset and the headset 3 years ago in 10 years is going to be laughable.
Yeah.
So,
You know what we are, Chris? What you speak to, and this is something I can talk about here, where we get used to everything. Like we get it, like for example, let's say you just won the freaking lottery, $200 million, right? You buy
mhm,
a Ferrari, you buy a big ass house, you got this incredible ass house, you got a Ferrari, you got a freaking Aston Martin, whatever. You got all these different cars, and you're going on all these trips everywhere. But the problem is, you're gonna get used to it. It's gonna
you
become,
become Notch.
yeah. Well, it's
You
gonna be
become Notch, the
normal.
saddest man in the universe with
Oh,
all the
is it?
money.
Is he?
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't been keeping up with that. I
He
remember when
has
he
like
had
this
like this
giant
candy
house.
room. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about the candy room. That's what I heard about. Is he the
I,
saddest man in the world now? Oh
from
my
what I
god.
read, it sounds like the man is just depressed all the time.
Wow. Isn't it crazy how these people, like you hear about Justin Bieber, right? Okay,
Mhm.
now we're on the pop media version of the show. Okay, no, what I heard about Justin Bieber, he's like all depressed. Dude just got married. He just got married. Like, what does that say for his wife that he's freaking suffering from depression? Dude, when you just got married, you're not supposed to be suffering from depression. Something's wrong
I
with this picture. And then
Yep.
we hear about like Kyrie Irving for the Boston Celtics, like suffering with depression. And Charles Barkley was talking about it. He was like, how the hell can you have like $50 million in your bank account and you're suffering from depression? He's like, I want to suffer from that depression. Let me suffer from that depression. But what I can speak to though, this is the God's honest truth. Okay, so I don't know, you can't really see my screen back there. I'll turn the camera just for a split second here. I don't want to show people the, but see there's a little bit more of my view there. See that screen? See, I had a big ass screen back over there. And so the thing is, this screen is like 128 inches diagonal. It's just painted on the wall. It's not like a beautiful like cloth screen. It's just paint on a friggin' wall. But I had a projector here, and people would come over to my house, and and like I would have like a Blu-ray playing or like a boxing match or something, and people would come in here and they would be like, "Oh my God, this is the most amazing thing ever. If I lived here, all I would do is watch movies all night long. This is so incredible, Anthony. Oh my God, you're living the dream," you know. And they would say this kind of stuff to me. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? It was like that for the first 2 months, but it ain't like that no more. You get accustomed to everything. And so we've got accustomed. So we're like these crackheads that we need a finer level of crack, you know? We can't get that same high anymore. We need to up our dosage, you know, or like, what do you call it? The freaking opioids, you know. And so it's like the opioids ain't doing it no more. Now we got to go to straight raw heroin, you know, or black tar heroin, because we're not getting that high anymore. And so we get the 2160 by 2160 screens. We get a HP reverb. We're like, I got the high again. I'm high again for a little bit. But that's going to wear off as well. And we're always going to be chasing that high. It's a never-ending quest.
It is. Nice one. I like it.
It's a never-ending quest.
An Oculus Quest.
It's a never-ending quest. But anyway, you know, we've been going for a crazy long time. I'm doing these marathon episodes, man. What is going on with me? I'm losing my mind.
That's it.
Yeah,
I'm losing exciting my mind. Times.
Yeah. It's fun, but I need a coffee break. But Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. I super appreciate it, because I swear to God, I'm using you as a major crutch because I wasn't ready for this show. I didn't have topics dialed in. But if I have somebody that can just hop on, it makes it so much easier for me. But
it's been a pleasure, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, we'll definitely have you. I mean, I need to have you on just a regular show where like we can talk to you about things that are going on and stuff and games you've been playing and stuff. But this is fun too, you know, to just have a guest pop on. So I definitely appreciate it.
Cool. I appreciate the opportunity. You have a good one, sir.
Okay. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So that was Chris helping us out in a major way. I'm telling you. It is so nice to have a guest come on here and save my butt, because when I don't have topics ready, man, it's scary. It's scary for me when I don't have topics ready. I feel like I'm in a panic mode. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my little logo. Oh, there is one thing I do want to ask you guys before we bounce out of here. Hit the like button. Ah, man, now I got to change this. I got everything mixed up. Yeah, go ahead and hit the like button, because you know what? It showed me we had like 300 people watching this show at one time, or maybe 200 or something. 200 different people watching this stream at one time. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlebots. It really helps out in a major way. The other thing I'll say is if you're not subscribed to VR365, what are you doing? Go ahead and subscribe to VR365, because we are going to bring you content on a very regular basis. That's kind of what it's all, that's the whole reason for the name. That's why the name is VR365, because it's gaming news and discussion 365 days a year. Of course, there will be a few days I take off, but we won't worry about that, will we? But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. Tomorrow I will be back at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So we will have another episode tomorrow at 2 p.m. Rendered Reality would like to come on, and I'd like to have them. Both of them, Sean and Tyler. I'm not at the same time. I do one person at a time on this show. I haven't advanced to multiple people yet. I'm going to deal with one other person at a time. I think that works better. But yeah, if anybody would like to come on the show, you can always shoot me an email, info@vrgamerankings.com. There is going to be kind of a waiting list, though, because I don't want to go overboard with all these people coming on every single day. And I do have a guest coming on this Sunday, Bobby Blackwolf. Really looking forward to that episode because I've listened to Bobby Blackwolf since like 2005, back when there was like nobody podcasting and nobody was doing this shit. I was listening to Bobby Blackwolf way back in the days. And he doesn't do a VR show, but he's always been a VR enthusiast, and so I'm looking forward to have him on. And obviously, this is a great week to have him on and talk about all the craziness that's going on. I could talk to him about Valve Index, Rift S, Quest, all kinds of things. He likes Audica. He's a fan of Audica, so we'll definitely be talking about Audica and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that on Sunday. But yeah, might be having some additional people come on this show as well. So it's all gizzies in the hizzies, as they like to say. Daily driver, bruh. A daily driver. I want to be your daily driver for VR news. No, I don't want to say that. That's cringe-worthy. Okay, so I'm out of here, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take it easy. Later. I got to go over to GameStop. I got to get my pre-order in. I'm going to walk into a GameStop. Oh my God, it's going to be scary, but I'm going to go into a GameStop. See you guys later.